Okay, guys, I'll be with you in a few minutes. So I'm still testing if the system is working correctly. So, guys, I'm still testing on my phone. I'll be with you shortly. Still testing on my phone. I'll be with you shortly. So, guys, so I want to show you. I'll be sharing with you a forecast. So, guys, so I'll be sharing with you a forecast of how I caught that beautiful move from NAS100, and how what can we expect from next week. Since but then it's a problem because we're trading at a higher high, so I won't delve much deeper into nasdaq because there are less inflection points. As you can see, we're at the higher highs of NAS100. We are essentially trading at these areas right now. But then even if I am to focus more on us, it won't be much deeper, even if because essentially I'm using the monthly chart, and since I'm using the monthly chart, it means that for monthly chart, even if we forecast the retest, we might be talking about something that will happen later this year. So but then as we are looking at NAS100, wow, it's actually at the beautiful place, but not beautiful place to trade because it's at the higher highs. I mean, if you take a moment and look at this area that we're in, we don't even have any market structure to rely on, because as you can see, maybe because we have a pattern here. I'm sorry about this, guys. It's just the trade that I'm actually at right now. Let me just fixate myself on this one. It's another trade that I'm inside of it. Let me just say hide so that I can be able to have access to it later at a later stage. But since, well, then we have a pattern, perhaps maybe we might reverse around next week, but we're not really sure because even 4 hour declares that we might even reverse. I mean, it's a pattern within a pattern. Maybe there's a higher chance that we might reverse. As you can see, we closed the week with a beautiful beautiful hammer there at the top of a candlestick. It's a beautiful hammer. Perhaps we might even delve much deeper into selling us and actually holding it, as like an investment type of trade, longer term trade. Let me remove this line so that they don't cause any confusion at this stage. So let me remove all these lines, trend lines, of course. So looking at NAS100 at the higher highs, we actually are right now, we might experience sells around the upcoming week, this Valentine's week, of course. So looking at this higher time frame, I mean, even I was looking at euro dollar. Euro dollar looks like itself want to take on long-term sells. I'll even check the DXY for you so that we can be on a clear path, so that we don't guess everything. We just get to know that we're actually moving in that direction, and we can stay in the profitable trade that might take even a longer term. That might even take longer term. So guys, as you can see, NAS100 right now, we don't know if whether we will, because this trend line, I'm actually squeezing it a little bit, but we still have a pattern within this pattern. I'm squeezing my trend line a little bit, As you can see, there's a missing gap around this area. I have a missing gap around that area. Which means maybe market might delve much higher, at least to come and equate to this high as a potential, as now is still a potential Fed touch. As you can see, I have 1, 2, and a potential Fed touch, but essentially we don't have to actually make it to this high to experience those bigger sells, because the market sometimes can just do this and you'll be just there thinking, you know what, how come I was not involved in this trade? Because that's how market is. But then because of we have a pattern, maybe this pattern is what we actually need. Oh wow guys, my battery is running low. Where's my charger? Damn, I found the charger, guys. Let me check if I'm still live. Oh yes guys, yes. So because we already had a pattern, we have a pattern inside the pattern. Perhaps this pattern is what we're actually looking for. Plus, we have a mean rejection on the 4-hour chart, which means since we have a rejection, we can even check on the 15th to refine if the entry is actually ready for next week. We can even check everything, check if whether the entry is actually ready. But then according to my analysis, something is still missing, because this might experience something around these areas and then clap to the bottom, because as you can see on the 15 minutes, this channel, I can't say it's a much clearer channel, but then we'll just look at a higher time frame in this instance to be on the safe side, because as you can see these ones, but then on the 1 hour slide it's a beautiful channel, but on the 15 denies it, so we can't actually force position around that area. But I think if we're in a position to reverse, we can only confirm that on a Monday. But we shouldn't forget that it's a risky area, because we still have a potential third touch at the top. I still have a potential, which must trade knowing that we watch our back. But then if we are to move, we might experience a longer term sales around this area. I think it could be that one sell that we've been waiting for quite long time. NAS100 can actually dip this upcoming week, or we might reject on a weekly time frame, because we still have a weekly time frame anyway. We can actually look at the weekly time frame, of which is still a bullish candlestick. You can see still a bullish candlestick. I'm watching it, and then we still have daily sharper move too. Still a sharper move, but the momentum, I don't think the momentum is still in check. The momentum is getting weaker in a sense that this candlestick, it might reject off. We might get bearish engulfing candlestick by next week. There's a higher chance, because as you can see, market usually moves with higher highs and higher lows, but in this sense, our last highest low was around this area. These are just small higher highs and higher lows. So actually on the daily, we must actually retest even this high that was broken. We didn't do that with a pattern. We can't be relying on a candlestick. Yes, we have candlestick retest and we have a pattern retest. As you can see here, a candlestick retest, we can look at something here, but then we have a pattern retest, which is this thing here. We are actually retesting this high here that was broken with the candlestick. This bearish candlesticks, it actually went lower and then it went higher. continue with the trend as a continuation, but we have a retest of a pattern, which is this one. So since here we broke with a candlestick, which is this bearish candlestick, we might experience another sells regarding, since when we might have this pattern. This pattern must fail, and we must fail with another pattern. It must be overridden. I call it the override. Since well then we didn't even consider retesting these beautiful highs, we might do so with the pattern. But since we got a pattern, even if this pattern it is to be negated, we will negate this pattern using a pattern, which will simply state that we're still heading higher. Let me forecast it here, so to show you what type of thing we can be expecting, so that we don't trade in the midst of, we don't get lost in the midst of uncertainty. Because NASDAQ, guys, we must really play it safe here, because we're at the higher high. We must really play it safe because NASDAQ is booming, guys. So changing trend at this stage is not gonna be easy, but we must really watch out back when you trade them. So let me just use the bus pattern to show you that we must actually expect a pattern of what sort. If we might start correcting correctively, if we start breaking here correctively, let me use another pattern. This one is not clear. Let me use this one here. Let me use this one here. I think this one is a beautiful one. It actually go in line with what I want to explain. So guys, but then I think I've tucked it at the wrong hand, at the wrong leg. Let me go and take it all out again. Yes, I'm looking to cut it here. Yeah, beautiful. It's beautiful. So guys, we might be looking to correct. If we are to break this pattern with a correction, then we are to watch, or perhaps we might land back up to reach for this potential higher highs, which is our potential factor that I just mentioned. That when we trade around these areas, we must really be very lenient. We must really be aggressive with the management part of things. So if we break with a correction, then there's a higher chance that we won't equal to this low here for that maximum, and for that maximum. So if we are to break using a correction and not impulsive breakout like this large candlestick, especially on the daily, because we really need to check how the daily closes around the break of this pattern if it does happen to move down to the downside, because failure to break with impulsive candlesticks, which means that it's corrective. It's very corrective. By corrective, actually mean this movement it's actually correcting, it's actually moving with consolidation. So if it does break out with consolidation, then we might expect something like a continuation of a trend. Yes, then we know that we're still keeping, even if it does move to the top, which means our management, we need to be careful with our management, because here we said we're looking for a retest. So since then we can experience a retest can actually retest this high, because we're looking for this high that was broken. So which means the resistance becomes the support, and then when we want to take an entry like this one, we actually have to put our stop loss below the zone, just so we can be safe and not be wigged out. But then even if you are a top trader, you have experience, you might refine it on the lower time frame and actually take it and with a 10 stop loss. So we'll take the trade with our target being here for a minimum. We'll take the trade with our target being here for a minimum. Since why? Since well then we are trading at the higher high, and remember we still have another area here which is our potential third touch that we can equate to before we decide to sell longer term. So liquidity might come and then come and push small buys, short-term buys before they take on the bigger move. We can actually have another gain, something like this, before we actually sell. We can actually have something like this before we decide to sell, because as you can see, the close on the weekly is still sharp, the close on the daily is still sharp again. So there's a lot that can still happen even in this area. They can trap you a lot and take unnecessary losses before they decide to drop, and with so much frustration you might end up not even benefiting from the trade, and then you find that whenever you get the trade, it's already too late. The trend is already hot. Now they want to correct, they want to consolidate, the market want to pause. So those are the mistakes that we need to avoid at all costs, because they can be costly for you and your account. So what is it that we can do at this stage? Like I said, we must look for sharp breakouts here, as similar as the close of the daily of last week, which was Friday, even the week. As much as that that is the sharp close that we must actually look for when we break this pattern, the close of that candlestick, like on the daily and on the weekly. Those are the candlesticks that we must actually look for. Let me revisit that candlestick one more time. This is the candlestick that really shows that we closed sharply. This candlestick shows that we still have momentum ongoing. We can still push higher if we decide to push higher. Since this is not a signal candlestick, that signal that we can decide to buy. No, this is still a momentum candlestick. So for us to actually look for sales longer term, we must really expect that close of that candlestick, but on a bearish level and on the break of the structure. So what's first? The first thing is structure first, which is the pattern, and then secondary is the candlestick. So that is more focused on us, guys. But then we really need to be on the lookout of how we break. Then we know that we'll be looking for longer term sales around that area. Or since we come from a highly momentum, we might correct for a longer term. We might actually create a table, like a channel that it consolidates in the same area for quite such a long time before we decide to drop. Then it can show you that we're about to change the trend. It can really show you that we're about to change the trend, and then we drop. But I'll revisit this trade and show you how you can still capitalize on this movement. Here's just the forecast, guys. Simple forecast on NAS100 on what we can really look for.